Listen up, petrolheads. Big changes are coming to a car dealership near you. We're not just talking about a new paint job or fancy headlights. This is about BS7, the latest emission standards hitting the UK like a runaway lorry. And guess what? Not everyone is happy about it. BMW, the maker of those sleek German machines we all secretly crave, is among those raising eyebrows. They, along with other car giants, are finding themselves in a bit of a pickle. You see, BS7 is like that strict teacher who expects top marks in every subject. It's all about cleaner emissions, safer roads, and a greener planet. Now don't get me wrong, we all want clean air to breathe and polar bears to keep their icy homes. But change can be a real pain, especially when it messes with our beloved cars. Buckle up because we're about to dive deep into the world of BS7, the challenges it brings, and how BMW is trying to stay ahead of the curve. Get ready for a bumpy ride. So, what exactly is BS7, you ask? In a nutshell, it's a set of regulations designed to make cars cleaner and safer. Think of it as a strict diet and exercise regime for your car. The main aim is to cut down on those nasty exhaust fumes that are about as welcome as a flat tire on a racetrack. We're talking about reducing harmful pollutants like nitrogen oxides and particulate matter. These little devils are bad news for our lungs and the environment. BS7 wants them gone, or at least significantly reduced. On top of that, BS7 is also tightening the screws on safety features. Think autonomous emergency braking, lane departure warnings, and all sorts of other gadgets designed to keep us rubber side down. Now you might be thinking, safety is all well and good, but how does this affect my need for speed? Well, that's the million-dollar question. These new regulations mean car makers have to get creative with their engines and technology, and that, my friends, can get expensive. Industry expert. Developing new engines, tweaking existing ones, and adding all those fancy safety features doesn't come cheap, and you can bet your bottom dollar that those costs will eventually trickle down to us, the consumers. The automotive industry is a bit like a well-oiled machine, or at least it tries to be, but BS7 has thrown a bit of a spanner in the works. Car manufacturers are now scrambling to adapt their vehicles to meet these stringent standards. It's like asking a chef to whip up a Michelin star meal using only tofu and kale. They can do it, but it's going to take some serious ingenuity and probably cost a pretty penny. Industry expert. One of the biggest gripes from car makers is the cost of compliance. Some manufacturers are worried that these added expenses might make cars less affordable, especially for the average Joe. Others argue that the timeline for implementing BS7 is too tight, putting a strain on their resources and production lines. It's a bit of a car crash waiting to happen, but hopefully, cooler heads will prevail. It's a challenging road ahead, but the industry is resilient. Let's see how they navigate these new twists and turns. Now let's talk about BMW. The Bavarian car maker, known for its sporty saloons and luxurious SUVs, is not one to shy away from a challenge. They've been investing heavily in green technology, trying to find that sweet spot between performance and eco-friendliness. Think of it as trying to teach a cheetah to run on tofu burgers. BMW engineer. One of BMW's key strategies is electrification. We've been rolling out hybrid and electric vehicles like the i3 and i8, showcasing our commitment to a more sustainable future. These cars might not roar like their petrol-powered siblings, but they can still give you a decent kick in the pants when you put your foot down. But it's not just about batteries and electric motors. BMW is also exploring alternative materials to make their cars lighter and more fuel efficient. We're talking carbon fiber, recycled plastics, and even plant-based materials that are about as far away from a rusty old banger as you can get. BMW is paving the way for a greener, more exciting future. BMW engineer. It's all about pushing the boundaries of what's possible, making sure our cars are not just fast and luxurious, but also kind to our planet. Section 5. The price of progress. Let's face it, folks, all this green technology doesn't come cheap. Developing and implementing these innovations requires massive investments from car manufacturers like BMW. And you know what they say? There's no such thing as a free lunch. Or in this case, a free electric car. The cost of producing these high-tech vehicles is inevitably passed down to the consumer, at least to some extent. So don't be surprised if you see a slightly heftier price tag on that shiny new BMW in the showroom. But hey, you're not just buying a car, you're buying a piece of the future, and a cleaner conscience perhaps. The good news is that as technology advances and production becomes more efficient, the cost of these green features is expected to come down. Think of it like flat-screen TVs. They used to cost an arm and a leg, but now you can practically get them for the price of a decent microwave. Here's the thing about emission standards. They're not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. Different countries have different regulations, which can be a real headache for car manufacturers trying to sell their cars globally. Imagine having to build a car that can run on petrol, diesel, unicorn tears, and fairy dust all at the same time. That's the kind of logistical nightmare we're talking about.
BMW, with its global presence, has to navigate this complex web of regulations like a seasoned diplomat. They need to ensure that their cars meet the specific requirements of each market they operate in. This might mean tweaking engine calibrations, adjusting emissions control systems, or even offering different models in different regions. It's a delicate balancing act, but one that BMW is taking seriously. After all, they don't want to be caught with their pants down in a country with strict emissions laws. That's not a good look for any car maker, especially one with a reputation for precision engineering.
Now, before you go thinking that BMW is all doom and gloom about these new regulations, let me tell you, they're not throwing in the towel just yet. In fact, they're embracing the challenge, albeit with a slightly cautious approach. BMW sees these regulations as an opportunity to innovate, to push the boundaries of automotive technology, and to cement their position as a leader in sustainable mobility.
They're investing heavily in research and development, exploring new avenues like hydrogen fuel cells and synthetic fuels. They're even working on making their production processes more environmentally friendly, reducing waste and emissions at their factories. It's all part of their grand plan to become a more sustainable and responsible car maker. Think of it as a corporate makeover, but instead of a new logo and a fancy slogan, they're going for a complete overhaul of their environmental footprint.
Section 8, the electric avenue. BMW isn't putting all its eggs in one basket when it comes to green technology. While they're dabbling in hydrogen and other alternative fuels, their main focus seems to be on electrification. And why not? Electric cars are becoming increasingly popular with their silent operation, instant torque, and zero tailpipe emissions. They're like the cool kids on the block, and BMW wants to be part of the gang. They've already got a head start with their i3 and i8 models, but they're not stopping there. BMW is planning to electrify many of its existing models, offering hybrid and fully electric versions of popular cars like the 3 Series and X3. They're even developing a dedicated electric platform that will underpin a whole new generation of BMW EVs. It's clear that BMW sees electrification as the future, and they're not afraid to put their money where their mouth is.
Section 9, hydrogen, the future is now. While electric cars are all the rage these days, BMW hasn't forgotten about hydrogen. They see this alternative fuel as a potential game changer, especially for larger vehicles and long-distance driving. Hydrogen cars, like their battery-powered cousins, produce zero tailpipe emissions. But instead of plugging in for hours, you can fill them up with hydrogen in a matter of minutes, just like a conventional petrol car.
BMW has been developing hydrogen fuel cell technology for years, and they're finally ready to show the world what they've been working on. They recently unveiled a prototype hydrogen-powered X5 SUV, demonstrating their commitment to exploring all avenues of sustainable mobility. Whether hydrogen will catch on remains to be seen, but BMW is hedging its bets, just in case it becomes the next big thing.
Section 10. Striking a balance. So there you have it. BMW, like other car giants, is facing a challenging road ahead with these new BS7 regulations. But instead of digging in their heels, they're adapting and innovating, trying to find that delicate balance between performance, sustainability, and affordability. It's a tough job, but someone's got to do it. And let's be honest, a world with cleaner air and quieter cars wouldn't be such a bad thing, would it? It might mean we have to get used to the gentle hum of electric motors instead of the roar of a V8 engine. But hey, progress always comes with a few compromises. And who knows, maybe we'll even learn to enjoy the silence. Section 11. Driving towards a cleaner future. One thing is for sure, The automotive industry is on the cusp of a major transformation. BS7 is just the tip of the iceberg, a sign of things to come. As we move towards a more sustainable future, we can expect to see even stricter regulations and bolder innovations from car manufacturers like BMW. They'll be pushing the boundaries of technology, exploring new fuels, and reimagining what a car can be.
It's an exciting time to be a petrol head, even if it means bidding farewell to some of our beloved gas guzzlers. But hey, that's the price of progress. And who knows, maybe those electric and hydrogen-powered cars of the future will be even more thrilling to drive than the cars of today. Now, wouldn't that be something?